I'm going to dive right into the content for us. And then Kristen, I will tell you this: if something pops up in the chat you think I need, I'm not watching that as much right now. I will want to ask some questions. Hey, and I'll tell you this: I'm a big fan of interaction. So I may say drop in the chat because if you were unmiked or if I was in an event I was teaching live, I'd ask for feedback. And so when I do that, feel free, drop it in the chat, drop your comments because, and I'll keep an eye on it as much as I can, but I would love for you to interact with me. And hey, Janelle, totally cool. You got a 1250. If you got to jump, we'll get you the recording, but just, we'll do it in a really cool way. So, hey, and here's the title. It's How to Add 8 Loans in 90 Days Without Cold Calling or Buying Leads. And what I love about this is I'm going to show you what's really working today, and we're going to help you with it. And one of the things you're going to do is you're going to leave with clarity. And if it makes sense, we'll build the rest together. And so here's what I'm going to walk you through: why most loan officers stall out and what separates those who stay stuck from growing. It's not a whole lot. It's only a few things. I'm going to show you the 5-part daily success plan that drives consistent referrals without buying leads. I'm going to show you the simple math behind adding 8 closings. And here's the deal: even in today's market, whether you're a fit for our coaching tribe or just need a smarter plan to follow, and the simple formula that top producers are using to create consistent closings month after month. And this is for you. Now, before I walk through this list, listen, I want to speak to 2 groups of people here today. Some of you already know me and you've seen me on the Loan Officer Breakfast Club or listened to the podcast. Others, it's your first interaction with me. Either way, I want you to hear this clearly. This is built for both of you. Whether you're closing 2 loans or you're closing 20, you're going to be able to walk away with clarity around what actually moves the needle. And here's the thing. We've helped people. I've got a good friend of mine, Caden Coots, less than a year in the business, thriving. 5 to 7 loans a month consistently. And in May of last year, he didn't even know how to spell mortgage. And I'm laughing. And he's in a small West Texas town, and he's brand new. And then we've got veterans that have been doing this 20 plus years. It works for all of you. And if you got a database but not enough consistency, and you're wanting something that actually works, you're in the right room. So as we walk through these next things, ask yourself this: does it sound like me? You're on a roller coaster. You're closing some loans, but it's inconsistent. It's like one month I'm thriving, the next month I'm just surviving. You got a database, but the database isn't really sending you business. You're tired of chasing and want a plan that actually works. You're ready for consistent, confident, and business you can count on. You know, I think about this. I remember when I was getting started in the business, the greatest stress I had was the inconsistency. And I always thought this: if there's a way to annuitize my income so that every month I wasn't wondering what's coming in, I knew based on the activities I did, that would be an amazing plan. And that's what we figured out. And here's the thing: you don't need more things to do. You need one system that actually drives closings. And so here's what I want to do for you real quick. For those I'm meeting for the first time, hey, and drop in the chat for me. If this is the first time I'm meeting you, drop in the chat first time. I'd love to see that. Carl and I always do something when we travel the country. Ashley, Cass, Shelly, first time. Judah, first time. Hey, it's great to meet you, Roman. Tammy, we always laugh when we go. We'll ask the room, hey, how many of you it's your first time? And we'll see, quite a, some will say yes, some will say no. And I'm like, well, where have you been? We've been missing you. And so let me just tell you my story real quick. I remember growing up, because I think it's important that you know where I've come from. I got in the business in 2002. But let me just tell you this. I remember growing up, I was in a loving, hardworking family. My dad was in the restaurant business, and he was the hardest worker I'd ever known. He literally would work 7 days a week, and I'm not advocating for this. It's just my story. He would get in the restaurant at 9 a.m. Monday through Sunday. He would open up the restaurant. It would open at 10. It closed at 10 p.m. He'd get home about 10:30, 11. And he did it 7 days a week. I only remember one vacation where we actually went to watch my brother in Chicago graduate from the Navy. This is the only time I ever remember really taking a trip. And the reason why I tell you that is because I even thought, hey, we're middle class. I have a loving family, loving father. Although he worked hard, he came from a violently abusive family, and he broke that generational curse. And all he knew how to do was provide for our family. And what he taught me was an unbelievable work ethic. I used to wear the badge, and listen, some of you may wear this badge as well. No one will outwork me. Well, listen to this. I thought we were middle class, but later found out we qualified for food stamps in high school. I would say we were probably high-low class as far as income. And but my dad was too proud to allow us to take food stamps. He just believed, you know what, we're going to bootstrap this thing. We're going to do our best. And God always provided. And I'll never forget saying, no one will ever outwork me. And so I became entrepreneurial. I have a twin brother. We started businesses. And in our early 20s, we started buying and selling real estate. We started flipping real estate. I bought my first place for 6,000, flipped it for 10,000. And it was just like, dude, I'm not going to live in poverty. I'm going to do what I've got to do. I started working when I was 15 years old. And we lost everything in our early 20s because we partnered with somebody. And we at early 20s, owed several $100,000. We had 4 houses going into foreclosure. And I am sitting here devastated because I'd lost everything. And then at 25, I got married. And I remember asking myself this, God, what do I do? I love people. I want to make a difference. I love real estate. And I'll never forget God really laying it on my heart. There's 2 times that I know this is what I'm supposed to do. One is to marry my amazing wife, Steph, and the other one was to get in the mortgage business. And that led me on a journey in 2002 to get licensed. I met a guy. He allowed me to sit in his office. And here's the thing. I know what it's like having a tough start. Like, I think I closed 8 loans my first year. And here's what happened is for 8 years, I began to plug away, and just my mantra was, nobody will outwork me. Well, here's the truth. My dad died a few years ago, 4 years ago. And if work alone was enough, he would have died a multimillionaire, and he didn't. He passed away on Social Security. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but what I learned was it's not about the work, it's about doing the right activity. The badge isn't the more I work, the more I make. No. That's not it. It's the more effective my work, the more results I get. And I remember for 8 years, I was doing it on my own. It was like, nobody will outwork me. I was getting in the office at 6:30, leaving at 7:30 at night. And it wasn't until about 8 years in 2011, I realized, man, I'm stuck. There's got to be a better way. And so I got involved in coaching and masterminding with other great loan officers. And it took me 10 years to break $100 million in personal production. And in my journey it was 17 and a half years, 18 years to break 100 million. And then here's what happened was I then made a massive transition. And when I transitioned, I broke $100 million in 2.5 years. And where I did it out of grit and hard work, and it literally took me 17 to 18 years because here was my badge. Nobody will outwork me. I was able to replicate it with a process to prospecting, with a process to building your team, a process to being effective, to where I did it in 2.5 years. And for the last 2.5 years, I've been helping others break the barrier. And the reason I want you to know this is what I'm going to show you today is not fluff. This is the actual things that will help you move the needle. And here's what I want you to do as well. I want everybody to self-assess. Before you can begin to make progress, you got to know where you're at. And one of the things I hear people do is I dissect, I'm not doing right or I'm doing good. You always got to look at what's a self-assessment. You're on one of 5 levels. And if you'd be open to it, I'd love for you to drop in the chat which area you feel like you're currently in. But look, some of you are surviving. That's 0 to 4 loans a month. You're completely reactive. You're inconsistent. And it's like I address the highest fire. It's like I got to fire, put out the fire, put it out. Well, listen, the next step is stabilize, because there's so much high anxiety and fatigue in the survive and stabilize because there's no consistency, and it's fire to fire versus consistency, process, and structure. Stabilize is 4 to 8. Look, you're starting to close some loans. What we've got to do is build a process to prospecting. What am I doing every day that actually drives the needle, and what am I saying no to every day so that I can focus on the one activity? You're getting a little bit of help. Then there's structure, 8 to 18 closings. That's a process for daily tasks. Your business is starting to run like a machine. I'm thinking about Adam Crosley, has 36 loans in his pipeline, closed, what was it, 18 loans in the month of April. And you know what? And before that, he was at 14 loans, 18, 36 in his pipeline right now. You know what? He's been in my boot camp, 8-week boot camp. And I just think about this. You know what he's doing? He's building a structure and he's shifting gears to the next level, which is scale. 18 loans a month. You know, Adam and I jumped on a call 3 weeks ago and he said, Steve, the biggest thing I need now is what do I do with my free time? And I'm like, we get to choose. But it's because he's going from structure to scale. And at every level, whether you're at survive, stabilize, structure, scale, or legacy, they all present a different challenge. And once you address that challenge, now you shift. And so you've got to self-assess and identify, and I appreciate that. I'm looking at some of these. Shelly, you're at survive. Garrett, survive. I appreciate that. Reactive and inconsistent. Christina, survive. And stabilize. I love that because you know what, Jim? When you're at stabilize, you got a little revenue. Now we need to get some continued help. And here's what it does. Once you assess where you're at, now you know what your next step is, and you can begin to get off this roller coaster. A feast or famine, unpredictable. Feast or famine, unpredictable. And here's what's interesting. What's really holding you back? That is what. Hey, and when I think about this, and again, I love the interaction. So drop in the chat. Like what I think about is this. If you were to self-assess today and you were to say, this is the one or two things that are holding me back, what do you think that would be? Drop it in the chat. What's really holding you back? Do you think you could close even more loans if this wasn't there, if this wasn't a part of what I'm seeing? Because that poor time management, I love it. Dude, we talk about that in the boot camp. Consistency, that's a big deal. Consistent leads. Whew. Myself, hey, Mari, thank you for that. Brian, survive. Man, myself. All right. Well, I'm gonna help you with that today too. And you know what's interesting about this is what I hear all the time is it's mindset. I've got call reluctance. I'm not motivated. I got fear, self-doubt. I'm overwhelmed or burned out. Oh my goodness. Hey, I talk about that in week 4 of the boot camp, Kristen, where a lot of people think I'm burned out. You know what's interesting? It's not burned out. They're depleted. And there's a depletion because it's not being focused on the right activity. But I'll tell you this, here's another one, structure problems. I got poor time management, no systems, no goals, fear of delegation, a marketing gap. Hey, I was working with a loan officer just a few months ago who 3 years ago did $100 million a year. And he told me, he said, Steve, I'm only closing 5 or 6 loans a month. And you know what? We walked through this marketing gap and we identified it was one thing that was stopping him. And it was unbelievable when you realized, wow, limited referral source network, inconsistent marketing. These are a lot of the things people will say. But you know what's interesting is not closing the loans, enough loans. And I'm your friend. Kristen's your friend. Jen's your friend. Carl's your friend. It's not the problem. I promise we think it's the problem. It's the symptom. Look, when I look at this tree, like if I got it's really cool. I live on 5 acres. I got 165 trees. I got 55 pecan trees. And when I'm looking at the pecan trees and that pecan tree is not producing the right size pecans, I don't go up there and start chopping branches down. You know what I realize? It's lacking nutrients in the root. And see, we're all trying to chop limbs off because that pecan tree this year didn't produce the right size pecans, instead of going to the root and giving it the nutrients it needs to produce the right fruit. So nobody's talking about this. All of those items are simply, it's just a symptom. The real problem is this, we're not making enough offers. And you're like, Steve, yeah, but I need leads. Yeah, but it's the offers in your business. And here's the $1 million formula. And I got to tell you, I love my partnership with Carl. He's helped change my life over the last 4.5 years. And in this partnership, what I've really learned is this: the number one problem, if you solve, is making offers. If you're making more offers than everyone else, you're going to get more business. And here's the challenge. We didn't know what an offer really looks like. And that's something I'm going to help you with, is that offers minus no equals money. And let me say this, no offers equal no opportunities and no income. And here's what it really equates to. If you're not making offers, you're simply losing not because of rates or inventory or market, or they're working with another lender, or I don't have enough agents. No, you're losing because you're invisible. And you may say, Steve, well, everybody knows who I am. They know what I do. Yeah, but it's not enough. I wish I could say it, you're enough, but the activity is not enough. And we've got data to prove it. And look, one thing I wanted just to share with you, anybody know what this is? For all, hey, and listen, by the way, I'm not a sports junkie. I do know Kristen is a big football fan, and she loves this story because the Philadelphia Eagles are her favorite team, and it has to do with the Philadelphia Eagles and how they whooped the Green Bay Packers. But this is the Lombardi Trophy. And let me tell you this, it's projected that almost 2.5 million kids across the United States want to play in the NFL, but the truth is there's only 32 teams and 1,700 players that get that privilege to play in the NFL. And this is the one trophy that everybody works their entire life to get to. It's called the Vince Lombardi Trophy. And let me tell you the reason they call it the Vince Lombardi Trophy, because his impact is so profound in the sports arena. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1971. And listen, even if you're not a sports fan, let me tell you how this impacts us in our industry. He's one of the greatest coaches in sports history. His career, let me tell you about this. His career, he won 7 out of every 10 games his team played the entirety of his career. That's insane. And here's what happened was in 1960, he was at a turning point. They were the favorites to win, and it wasn't called the Super Bowl. It was the championship. He was the favorite to win, and him and the Packers actually lost to the Eagles in a bitter setback. It was almost like nobody could believe they got beat. And they lost to Kristen's team, the Philadelphia Eagles. And here's the thing. It was so disappointing, so devastating. They were the favorites to win. He had the winningest career. And they had no idea what was going to happen in 1961 when he walked back into training camp. And here's what happened is he walked in and he simply said one thing. He said, gentlemen, as he held up a football, he said, gentlemen, this is a football. And let me tell you what that statement meant. It was a call to master the fundamentals. See, they were getting distracted with all of the things and these trick plays and all of this. We're going to do all this fancy footwork and we're going to do this and this and that. And what his call was to say, we're going to get back to blocking, tackling, executing a game plan with precision. And after his gentleman, this is a football address, listen to this, and getting them to return to the basics and mastering and focusing only on blocking and tackling and precision, it reinvigorated the team. The team's like, this is what we've got to focus on. And under his renewed approach, listen to this, they transformed their performance and they dominated the NFL, winning 5 of the next 7 championships. That it kind of reminds me of the Patriots. Like they won 5 of the next 7. It had never been done. Like it was unbelievable. And here's what it really led to is this. Leadership isn't about flashy strategies. It's about perfecting the basics. And when faced with a challenge, returning to the core principles. And so I say that to say this, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, this is a phone. Winning starts when you return to what works, and this works. And it's what is going to help you build and go back to the basics. And listen, I like the AI. I like the automations. I like the targeted Facebook ads. I like all of the shiny objects. But I got to tell you, if you are surviving and you are stabilizing, the worst thing we can do is focus on a trick play. We got to just block and tackle. And so one of the things you got to realize, it's not your personality or skill set, it's your process to prospecting. And what we're going to do is walk you through a daily success plan. It literally changes everything. When you know, okay, I'm going to do this one activity. I'm going to do this one thing. I'm going to say no to the trick play. I'm going to get back to the fundamentals. I'm going to reach out to the warm list of people that already know, like, and trust me, and I'm going to do it in a cool way so that I can get business in today. And the reason why you're stuck, you're not broken. The reality is You're charismatic. The reality is you wear the same badge that I wore for years. And listen, I believe in work ethic, but I'm not going to wear a badge that says I'll outwork somebody. That doesn't produce profit. That doesn't produce revenue. It's a plan that has proven results, that is easy to implement in a short period of time, that gives me consistent results. And so here's what happens is many of you, it's just no consistent follow-up, no structure. No proven plan, no accountability. Look, that's a big one. I do these 8-week boot camps inside of the Mortgage Marketing Animals membership. And it's for people who are like, I got to have a fast injection. I got to get the pipeline built in 90 days or less. And with an 8-week intensive, I can do it. You know what I hear, Jen and Kristen? I hear this. At the beginning of every call, I say, what's the one thing you want to get out of it? And here's what I hear: consistency, structure, a plan that works, and I need accountability in a really cool way. And that, in my opinion, is a difference maker when you've got a daily success plan. And look, let me just tell you something. I want to just show you something real quick. Danny T, we have this, look, we have a Slack channel inside the Marketing Animals, and I love it. I was telling Melissa, I love this channel so much. These are some I literally just pulled off our channel. I kid you not, this morning as I was updating it, because I want you guys to see real activity. But like, this is a part of what's happening right now. Danny T, first time on Call Stars, and we'll like when we get on a strategy call, we'll walk you through Call Stars. Called past clients and got a referral. First time. Listen to this. Murda Hernandez, 8 contracts last week. And you know why? Started making the calls again, and it's working. Shelly LaFleur, hey, 3 contact tracks over the weekend, having her best month ever. Joanne, I love Joanne. She's been a part of the boot camp and the membership. 5 contracts in from Monday to Saturday of last week. Momentum is real. And I only say that to say, I don't want you to think, oh, this is all hype. I'm not here to be a hype man. I'm here to help you. I'm here to let you know that what we're talking about has real results. And then I can hear some of you. I hear you, Steve. Yeah, I hear you. But it's a tough market. Let me walk you through something real quick. This came from the Mortgage Bankers Association. And let me just do this real quick. From 2002 to 2027 projections. And let me just show you this blue line right here. So follow the blue line. These are purchase money originations. So hold on. Hold on. I just right here, purchase money originations. And I want you to look right here in 2025. Kristen, can you see my cursor? Yes, Jen, can you see?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay. So in 2025, follow this. Aside from 22, aside from 21 and 2020, this will be projected to be and finish as the best purchase money year since 2005 for 20 years. And the reason why I want to say that is, yeah, but there's AI and text changing. No. It doesn't change the fact it's still going to be literally the 4th best purchase money market since 2005, and 2005 and beyond, it's better than that, because that means 2005 is the only thing that even came close. And so I just want to tell you, it's not the market. Decades of literally history and data, this is one of the best. So here's the thing, it's not magic. And I'll tell you this, I never forget saying to myself, and I wouldn't say this a whole lot out loud, but you may have said it to yourself. I remember when I was struggling, it was unpredictable. And I just kept saying, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better. I would say this all the time. Kristen, if I knew what to do, I'd do it. Mm-hmm. I'm a doer. I take action. Like, and my mantra was, nobody will outwork me. You put me in a room with somebody, I'll outwork them. And here's what I didn't know, because we didn't have the data, and we didn't have the data until now. Carl's history, my history, our coaching, like, it just goes back to, I'm doing a lot of activity, but I'm not 100% sure it's moving the needle. Like that was my deal. It's like, I could go in and say, I'm doing the work. But the real question kept coming up. Is it the right work? Is it moving the needle? Is it changing things? I had the high highs, low lows, high stress on my family, because one month we'd have enough, another month we barely have enough. And I'm like, if I knew what to do, I'd do it. Hey, and let me ask you this, drop it in the chat. If I could show you one activity to close 8 loans a month that would transform your business, would you do it? I want to know, yes, I would do it. Drop in the chat, yes, I would do it. Because see, you're full of doers, but I think half the problem is you don't even know what it is. Look, let me give you this, and then I'm going to show you some of the data because what I believe, I love that. Absolutely, Hill, Pete, I love it. Tom, Yummy, every one of you. Yes, yes, yes. It's because you're a room full of doers. That's why. Hey, and let me tell you this. I thought about give me an analogy. Well, and look, let me just tell you the magic. It's not magic, it's math. And let me tell you what we did. Inside of the membership, which is one of the coolest gifts we have because it's the culture, it's the relationships, it's clarity. I also hear this a lot. I'm on an island by yourself. Well, you don't have to. Today, you can choose not to be on an island by yourself. And one thing is this. We did, and this was 2 targeted days. We're starting to do them monthly and bi-monthly. We did one 2 months ago. We did one 3 months ago. And so this isn't outdated data. This is in the last 100 days. We invited all of our members to jump on Call Stars, and it's a thing we did. We made outbound calls. And the goal for every person was to have 50 conversations in a day. And listen what the data told us. And this is well over 10,000 outbound calls. And we we asked people, give us the data. How many outbound calls? How many conversations? How many asked for the business? And what happened was this. Listen, out of the data, here's what it told us. If you make an outbound call to a warm list of people, and I'm going to walk you through the warm list, and you have a conversation, you'll get referrals. So here's what happened. 40% of the people answered the phone. That's a number I would write down. And out of every conversation, 18% had a relational referral. Not a bought lead, not a sync lead, not a Zillow lead, not a, hey, go chase my leads. People that said, I've got somebody right now that I want you to talk to. Put that in perspective. Literally 40% answered, and this is with over 10,000 documented outbound calls, and the data was unbelievable because it was East Coast, West Coast, big teams, little teams. It was people in a one light stop. Literally, there were people in there that literally have one light in their town and people that have 5 million in their city. It didn't matter if they were closing 0 loans, 50 loans, 10 loans, 20 loans, Central, East Coast, time zone, Eastern time zone, Western Pacific. The data was the data. 40% answered, 18% gave a relational referral. And watch to what this actually means. 13 talk tos a day. Now, here was the key. Let me say one thing about this, and I thought this was so great. The key was this. That day, this data was hyper-focused on asking for the business. So this isn't, I just had a call, I talked to the person, I didn't ask for the business. It was conversation, warm relationship, ask for the business in a cool way. So the key, look, it'd be like this, Kristen. If I went into a restaurant, let's say I'm a server and I got somebody walked into my restaurant and I was in the restaurant business, how crazy would this be? They walk in, we seat them, and I never take them a menu. Never. What if I just decided, hey, Jen, I'm not going to give them a menu. I'm going to let them come in my restaurant, but I'm not giving them a menu. That would be weird. People would walk out, or people in frustration would say, hey, are you going to give me a menu? Think about this. If you went to the gym and I walked in, I set all the weights everywhere, I did my warm up, and I never picked up a weight to actually do the work. It's the same thing as having a conversation without having an ask for the business. And here's what the data showed us was, listen, 13 talk tos a day plus 13 ask for the business equaled 2 relational referrals a day. So let me tell you how powerful that is. Like, I've got a chance to go network at all of these networking events and do all this stuff, or I got an opportunity to have 13 real conversations a day with people that already know, like, and trust me, and I ask for the business. I'm going to get 2 relational referrals a day. 5 days a week, here's the math. It's 10 referrals a week. And here's what we know. That's 40 referrals a month, 8+ closings a month from one activity. Yes, Steve, I don't like the phone. Okay, well, I'm trying to be your friend. And I'll tell you this, if you're in survival mode and if I'm starving, I want the one thing that feeds my family today, not in 90 days from now. And the thing it is 13 talk tos, 13 asks, 2 relational referrals a day, 5 days a week, 40 a month. And listen, that's if you close 1 out of 5. And for our numbers, for Carl and I, what we've documented and tracked, we know that you'll close 1 out of 4 if you got a good process. And so let me walk you through this real quick. Two types of prospecting. Number one, I'd call it fishing and hunting. And guys, I'm not here to debate whether you like fishing or hunting or if it's cruel or not. I just want to give you, like, I live on I have the Brazos Rivers right behind me. The other day, my boys went in, they threw in a line and they caught a 20-pound catfish. And so it was Lucas and Chandler, their friend, and they came in and literally we had fish tacos that night. I kid you not. Well, here's what I thought. If I've got to have food today because I haven't eaten in weeks, I'm not going to go down to my wife's garden and start planting seeds. What I've got to do is go fishing to get something to put in our bellies today. And here's what fishing and hunting is. It's active. It's what am I doing today that gives me a result today? Because Lamont, if I make an outbound call and in a cool way I ask you for the business, guess what? You in a cool way can give me a lead today and I can get them pre-approved and that deal close in 30, 45 days. That's fishing and hunting. It's the fastest way to build a pipeline. But here's what nobody else has talked about too. It's farming. It's the activity weekly, monthly that give me results in 30, 90 days. It's high tech, high touch, low time. And the challenge is this. I think some of you are trying to farm because farming is less, you feel like I'm going to have less rejection. Well, I'm going to help you with the rejection, but you can't farm if I have to eat today. So here's what I want to do is this. Like you say, okay, what is the fishing and hunting today? Number one, it's 13 talk tos every day where I ask the business to a warm list. Every day has a theme, the daily success plan. Every call is easy to make. Why? They already know, like, and trust you. The next thing is this, what farming looks like, and I'm just going to throw this out here. And here, look, once you're consistently hunting, you got to implement the farming part. For some of you, like, we'll show you how to do that. But let me just real quickly run past it. It's a monthly mailer. It's a weekly email plus a super signature, which is a call to action in your email. It's a random text that's not random. It's a process. And it's building your digital billboards for your database, which we talk about inside the membership. We'll help you with that. But that it now may not be the time if you've got to eat today. So what I want to focus on is the fishing and the hunting. And here's the question I hear. Great. Who do I call? Anybody ever said that? It's like, great, I hear you. I need loans today. Who do I call? Here's what we're going to do. You're not calling strangers. You're reconnecting with people you already know who already know you. And what we want to encourage you to do is you got to start with a list of 150, but I promise you this. I went through the whole process we're going to give you as well. Like I used the warm list activator and I used some of the things that will help you with. I was able to, and I just did it. My wife is getting back in the business, which has been so much fun, helping her because we're just implementing everything we're talking about. And it's been crazy cool. But listen to this, I redid this and it took me about 30 minutes. And Kristen, I got to tell you, there were 6,700 names that had been in and around my life. And I just thought, you know more people than you think. And so we're going to help you build your list. And here's what your list has got to be. It's bigger than you think. Because these are the people that when you call, they say, Vinny, my man, it's been a while. What's going on, brother? I'm just telling you, they're not hard. Tim, Brad, what's up? Great to see you. And here's the other thing too. The money's in your list. They know, like, and trust you. You start with 150 in your warm database at Sphere of Influence. And here's the thing. You got more people than you know. And I always call it this. It's like your wedding list. Every year, Steph and I send out, and it's so funny, we send out about 2,500 Christmas cards. And these are people for the last 23 years of our marriage we've met in relationships. And I promise you got a Christmas card list. You got a wedding list. You got a list of people that you're just not thinking about who they are. And we're going to help you with that. So here's the thing. We got to build a list. Number two is this. The reason why that list is so important, 78% of clients, when asked, would you use the same lender or agent again? NAR, National Association of Realtors, put a survey, and it was fascinating because you know what they said? 78% said we'd absolutely use them. But listen to this, only 11% actually do. Why? No consistent follow-up. They forgot about you. How many times have we, and I've been guilty of this, you call a past client or a sphere of influence and you call them and they say, dude, I just bought my house. And you're thinking, I know this is a gut kick. I've had it. I know what the gut kick feels like. You didn't think about me. Oh my gosh, you should have just called. But when I say that, I'm putting the guilt and shame on them. And the reality is, no, they just forgot about us. Because the thing is this, like in building your list, we got to know who to go after, and it's the people like, and I'll tell you, like, we've got this really cool tool. It's called a warm list activator. In 15 minutes, it'll help you think about the doctors, your dentist, your, the people. Like, listen, our kids go to private school, and there's about 10 realtors in the private school. And we've got great relationships with them. And it's so interesting because once we build the list, here's what you got to realize is this: people would use you, but they forget the fortunes in the follow-up. And that's what most loan officers miss, because we're being so reactive, or we're doing all of the farming, which is good, but it's not good at the wrong time. I always tell people this: that may be a good conversation, that may be a good activity, but in the wrong season is detrimental. And if you're on that list where it's like, I'm surviving to stabilize or stabilize to structure, you don't farm until you at least get to stabilize and structure. And then you have a person help you farm. And here's the thing is, we're not making a call to these people because call reluctance is what everybody would say. Hey, but it's not really the call reluctance. It's the symptom. The root of it is we're simply not making enough offers. We're not having enough conversations, and those conversations asking for the business in a really cool way. I used to hear people say, well, scripts are so cold. They're so calculated. I don't like it. Listen, you say a script every time you say your phone number. You say a script every time you say your address. You say a script most of the time. You're having your first calls the same way every time. It's taking designed conversations and using them in a way that's very cool and makes it your own. Because here's what we know: the offers minus no's equals money. And here's what I want to say is this. I was thinking about it. When I think about coaching, I think about the first 8 years of my career, and really the first 18 it took me to break 100 million. But I started getting involved in coaching because of this. I realized I was stuck. And I realized that, in order to get unstuck, I needed to mastermind and be in relationship with people that were further ahead than I was. And what I learned was this, and listen, I'll tell you how crazy it was, Kristen. I was so broken in 2010, 2011, where I was working from 6:30 in the morning till 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I was married. My wife would come in at 9:30, 10, and she'd work with me to 7:30. And I got to tell you this, I was so broken. I literally flew across country. I didn't know one person, and I began to mastermind in this group we started masterminding with. And it was, here's why. Because I'll tell you what happens is coaching's an accelerant. And what took me 17, 18 years to do began to make it, all it does is, for some of you, I wouldn't even say some of you, I'd say all of you, you're going to be successful. The question is it going to take you 8 years, 10 years, 15, 18 years? Some of you don't have that much time. Or will it take you 6, 8, 10 months? Because what coaching does is that identifies, here's the one thing to implement now to get fast results. We get money in, now we hire a team. Here's what the team does. It's layer upon layer, it's step upon step, and it's a clear path to do it. And you know what's interesting too? I hear this all the time. A lot of people, it's like, hey, I don't have time for coaching. Here's the truth. If you don't fix the chaos, you'll always be too busy. I put up excuses I used to have and things I was looking at, and it's like, hey, I need more leads. Yeah, you need more structure, because leads without a system, there's no consistent follow-up. There's no consistent ask. The truth is, if I were to tell half of you to double your business in 90 days, you would say, I can't work more hours. That's what I used to say. But it's not. But when you're walking a path that doesn't require more means more hours, now I've got a predictable business. Here's the other thing: I'm just not consistent. Well, the truth is, I'm not consistent. It's not consistency. It's the process that makes us consistent. I've tried coaching before. It didn't work. Yeah, I've had a bad haircut before, and I didn't stop going to the barber. I just changed barbers. Most coaching is fluff, but when it's built on real call data. See, here's the thing. I don't know that there's anybody in the industry who now knows what you know. This 1 hour will literally transform your business. If somebody said, how do I put 8 loans in the pipeline? Guess what you could do today? You could literally say, based on the data that Steve and the Marketing Animals has, I need 13 conversations with 13 asks for the business. And if I do it in the right way, I'm going to get about 2 relational referrals a day. And I can't make an income claim because, look, I was talking to somebody this last week. It was so fascinating. And here's what we said. So he's doing the work, but the result, he wasn't seeing the result. He just started. And I said, well, listen, if you've done the activity, now it's how you're asking for the business. Let's figure that out. Because we know mathematically with over, man, over 10,000 outbound calls. Like, I mean, the data is probably in the 10 to 20,000 data points. I mean, it's insane. So now I'm not guessing. The data tells us. So what I'm doing with my friend is I just said, okay, we're going to jump on a 15-minute call. And let me just show you this. He's in my boot camp. And so I was like, okay, you're doing the activity. The result's not there. It's because here's what you're saying in that ask. If we tweak this, we'll start getting it. And guess what? The referrals started coming in. But you don't know if you don't know where the bottleneck is. And so here's the other one. If I grow, I lose control. You only lose control if when you don't have a structure, you don't have a process. And here's what I love today. I picked this picture. It's very intentional. And I want everybody to look at it because I want you to tell me which way you'd go. Look at it real quick. And I want you to say, would you go left or right? And then tell me why. This is so fun. In the chat, drop it for me. I'd love to see which way you'd go and why. Okay, you go right. Look, Janelle, go right, go right. Joanne, you go right. You go right. I don't know why everybody's going right. What if it's left? I love it. Ron, Vinny, I see you guys. Hey, listen, here's the thing. When I look at this, if I have to make a decision and I go left or right, the truth is it's a crapshoot. I have no idea what's at the end of the left or the right. And you know, when I was looking at this picture, which is why I wanted to put this here, I just thought about this. Because for me, I'm just imagining, okay, would it be helpful if somebody walked down one of the roads and said, "Hey, I could, I've been to both paths. Would you like for me to tell you which way to go?" How many of you'd love that? I would. And what if somebody walked up and instead of pointing and saying, "Hey, go to the left. That's where the swimming hole is. The right is a dead end and won't take you anywhere. But the left has this remarkable underground cave system, and it's got this beautiful swimming hole. And it's about, I don't know, 2 or 3 miles down the road. And you'll have to pass this and do that and move that." Or I thought about this, the difference between a travel agent and a tour guide. What if that person who walked up said this? Kristen, what would it be like if they said, "Hey, listen, I've been both ways. Let me show you where the left is where you're going to want to go if you want predictable income, if you want a real sustainable business. And listen, I know there's a pothole right there on the left about a mile in. Then it gets a little bit shaky, but if you'll move to the right, you'll avoid this and move that." Like, what if that person didn't point? What if they said, "Let me walk you down there and I'll walk you all the way through"? How many of you like that? And see, that is where the magic really happens, is when somebody were to actually walk through and look, like one side is you're trying to build it alone. It's slow, it's frustrating, it's stuck, unpredictable roller coaster. You keep trying random tactics that worked last year. And look, the other path, you're building it with a guide, a clear plan, easy to implement structure, accountability in a cool way. Listen, I know what shameful accountability is. That's not even right. Like, accountability should be based on your goal, and it should help you steward your decision. And our goal is just to help you have a truth serum and say, if I want this, here's the activity that I need to do. And the question is, are you willing to steward that activity today? And it's consistent community. And hey, and listen, and I know some of you may even be saying right now, I want to know more. And do this for me, Jen, drop in there freedomplanningcall.com. Some of you may say, "Hey, I'd love to know more about the coaching stuff right now." Go to freedomplanningcall.com and you'll fill in your first name, last name. You just type it in, email, cell phone, and it says, "How many units a month are you closing?" And literally right there, you can book a call with our team. So feel free to do that. And one of the things that I always think about is this. Carl taught me this literally, I don't know, it was one of the first lessons he taught me years ago. And he said, "Steve, you know what? Everybody's got a choice. because it would be like, hey, I can't, I'm too busy. Hey, the processing isn't working. Hey, all of these excuses. And he said, Steve, I want you to say one word, and I want you to say the word I choose. And I said, well, what do you mean I choose? Because I got all this reaction coming. I got all this stuff happening. I got like, what do you mean I'm choosing? He said, here's the one thing that empowers you. You get the choice to choose. I choose to live chaotic. I choose to live stressed out. Hey, listen, for me, I was at a place where my family was starting to resent me. My three little kids were starting to resent me. I was working more, just trying to, you know what, again, nobody will outwork me until I began to realize I choose. I choose to have a predictable income. I choose to get rid of the chaos. I choose to begin to lean into a process that has predictable results. I choose consistency. I choose freedom. I choose to have a start and stop time. Like one of the greatest gifts of the boot camp is helping people build a livable calendar where it's like, you know what, something's available. A 7 p.m. appointment's available till it's no longer available. Do a start and stop time. Why? Because I choose to run a business instead of a business choosing me. And those are the types of things that are remarkable. I choose freedom. I love that. Some of you guys are dropping in what you choose. I love it. Drop it in the chat. And here's what I always think about is this. I want everybody just to pause real quick. And I want you to really, and like, what would it look like 90 days from now if you had structure? A pipeline that you trust, not hope. Hope's not a strategy. Hope will get you motivated, but listen, what I'll tell you is this: if your motivation doesn't shift to discipline because you've made a decision that you steward, you're going to continue the ups and downs and the guilt and shame and I'm not good enough and I've got all this fear. Fear is removed when you take action, not before. Let me tell you this. I've been doing these boot camps now and in our coaching like for over a year, and we've helped so many loan officers. Fear's a choice and choose till you choose to take action. And people want clarity, people want confidence, and then I'll take action. No, no, no. Confidence and clarity come when you take action and you steward your decision to take action. Like, what would it feel like if you had a pipeline you trust, time back in your day, energy for your life, confidence that what you're closing, they're not random anymore, and a system that grows with you, not grinds you down. And I love this story. Brittany Bobs has been through the boot camp, part of her coaching. She's so precious. And listen, in April, closed 20. For May, 26 loans. And you know what the first thing we started doing was taking things off her plate, learning how to ask for the business, activating the people in and around her life that are already in and around her life. I love this. What does taking action look like? Hank went from 5 loans. Listen, that was his goal. He started implementing the plan. Kristen, I think it was back in this, I don't think, I know it was in December, late last year. And his goal was to get to 5 loans consistently a month by March and literally closing 11 loans. Ryan, 3 contracts in yesterday with 2 more expected today. Renee, 47 outbound calls, booked 26 appointments. And I love Nigel. Nigel's fantastic. Took 5 days off, 9 referrals came in. And guess what? His team, literally, he was like, dude, the team handled it. They did it. And it goes back to this. What would 8 loans in the next 90 days do for you? It's making 13 conversations with people that already know, like, and trust you a priority and asking for the business in a really cool way. And here's, Carl and I were talking about this literally last week. I kid you not, we were talking about it, and I said, Carl, let's talk about, we have great conversations. And I said, Carl, talk about the decision. Let's talk about this. And you know what? This is what really came out of that conversation. Everyone's equal till someone makes a decision and takes action. And you know what's interesting is what I love about every first of the year, everyone's equal. The first of the quarter, everyone's equal. The first of the month, everyone's equal. Until you make a decision, and that decision is, I'm going to do whatever it takes to have 13 great conversations with people that already know, like, trust me. And I don't have to do 45 things. I don't have to do networking. Listen, if you're in survival and structure mode, like you're trying to stabilize, survival, stabilize, structure, then you got scale and legacy. If I'm in survival and stabilize mode, I tell you this, I wouldn't do a thing, but everything I had to do to build a list, Starting today, as soon as we get off this thing, I would call 13 people and I would ask for the business in a really cool way. And if you will do that, the math actually proves that it brings in about 2 relational referrals a day. And that is the game changer. And here's what Carl and I were talking about. I said, Carl, you know what? Everybody's equal till you make a decision. And you know what he said? And I thought, dude, you're so right. He said, not taking action is making a decision too. And I hadn't seen that. And what was interesting is I always think about take action, that's your decision. And he said, no, no, no. We were talking about it because some of you not taking action today means your pipeline next month will look exactly the same. And you've made a choice. I choose, and I made a decision. So here's the deal. It's your turn. And if, listen, I'll tell you this, if you're already a member, one of the things that we're going to do is this. I want to give you, I created this warm list activator. It's the same thing that helped me work on coming up with 6,700 people for my wife's database that we're doing with her business. And I did it in about 30 minutes. And I thought this, I literally called Diane and said, I just created a process that I want to give everybody that'll help them. Literally at a minimum, you think it's 150? I think it's probably 1,000. Because look, it's not just your past clients. It's the sphere of influence. It's the relationships that are in and around your life, but they simply forgot about you or they don't know. And so here's what we're going to do. If you're already a member, one of the things is, look, today is where, if you're a member, we're going to give you the warm list activator. We've also got the 3 scripts that if you not just memorize, but it's called these are design conversations that we know and have been battle tested. We're going to give it to you. And we're going to give this to you. But if you're already a member, what I'd say is just send a note to support at the Marketing Animals, and we're going to pull you to the front of the line. We want to do it. And here's what I would say. If you're a member, reach out to support at the Marketing Animals. We'll give it to you. But what I'm going to do is, for those of you who are on this call and you say, man, I realize I've come to a fork in the road. And I know the one thing is this: if I have 13 conversations and I ask for the business in a really cool way, I'm going to get about 2 relational referrals. That is the number one thing that'll absolutely move the market for you, move your business. And for those of you who say, hey, listen, help me with my warm list. I'd like to know more about the design conversations. I'd like to know more about the boot camp. How do I ramp up fast in 90 days and do an 8-week boot camp where we can focus on consistency? Go to freedomplanningcall.com. And now, if you're a member, send a note to support at the marketinganimals.com, because we'll give you the warm list activator. We're going to give you the top 3 lead conversion scripts, and we'll help you with the map. And we're going to pull you to the front of the line if you say, hey, I want to tweak some of these things. So your front of the line is support at the Marketing Animals, and we're going to literally get everything to you. We'll get you the replay shortly after this, within minutes. And so, but for those of you who aren't members, I want to invite you, freedomplanningcall.com. One of the things that we'll do is we're going to walk you through a plan. We're going to give you some tools to help you build it. And this is not a high pressure pitch. The reason I'm doing this masterclass is because I got to tell you, I talk to hundreds of loan officers a month, literally a month. And I get the privilege of seeing what the number one activity is that is moving the needle in everybody's business. And what we wanted to do is give you a gift and be able to say, hey, book into a strategy call and let us help you with your growth map. Where are you at? Let's identify some pain points. Let's get you your warm list activator, help you build your list. And then not only that, let's give you the 3 scripts that we know right now are absolutely moving the needle for people in today's marketplace. You know, whether you're a Caden Coots that started at 0, or whether you're a veteran like Brittany who's been doing it for a long time. I mean, heck, she was been in the business a while. Whether you're any one of these examples, the key is you just need a clear plan, and we're going to give that to you. So let me tell you what we've got. We've got 25 spots on the calendar. You click freedomplanningcall.com. You type in your first name, last name, email, cell phone, how many units you're closing a month, and it'll literally take you to the calendar. Book in, and we're going to walk you through this plan. Hey, and listen, if there's anybody on this call and you say, hey, I just booked in, drop in the chat you booked in. I'd love to celebrate that you scheduled your call. And listen, there's no high pressure pitch. It's about seeing if you're ready to stop surviving and start scaling, but we've only got 25 spots. And when they're gone, they're gone. And even for my boot camp, I'm starting a boot camp. I'm launching one next month. There's only, Kristen and I were talking, there's only a couple of spots left. You may be on this call and you may say, hey, Steve, I need to literally see massive results. I'll tell you this. Paulina, she's right now in the boot camp, and she's been making the calls each and every day. But it's been remarkable. Kristen, you know Paulina, she got 11 leads, 11 leads last week, like from struggling and no plan. And you know what I know? And here's what we walk through in the boot camp is in week 2, I help you know the numbers and walk you through the numbers. 11 leads means she put 2.5 loans in her pipeline that'll fund in the next 45 days from 1 week's of activity, 1 week. And I just thought, and she's like, Steve, I never understood the power of making these calls and how fast the results are. And that's where, like, I could just go down a list of hundreds. And I'm thinking about my dear friend, R.K. Glover, moved across the country to Scottsdale, Arizona. And in 8 weeks from being a non-producing branch manager for 10 years, and in 8 weeks put 8 loans in his pipeline, and he's consistently closing 8 to 10 loans a month, and moved across country. Never, didn't even know anybody, didn't know anything, uprooted his precious family, went to Scottsdale, Arizona. So whether you're new, whether you're old, whether it's a new market, old market, it doesn't matter. It's a clear plan. And that's something you can talk to the team about if the boot camp's a right fit. If it is, join. If not, we've got other levels of membership that we know right now will give you access you need. Hey, and here's something I wanted to do, and then I'm going to open it up for some Q&A. Hey, and drop in the chat. If you scheduled your call, I'd love to see it. Drop in the chat. Let me see here. Hey, and drop in the chat and help me identify. Just call it out, Kristen. As you schedule your call, drop it in. I want to see you dropping in. I want to celebrate that with you. Hey, here's the other thing. How do I build a warm list? You talked about. You're probably I'm going to give you a handful of questions I've had. You're probably sitting on about 150 to 300 warm contacts already, and we're going to help you with it. I'll give you the warm list activator. We've got some tools that literally in a matter of minutes will help you pull more than you ever thought. So we'll do that on the call. Book the call. The next thing is this. What do I actually say when I call? Because I hear that a lot. Hey, Steve, I'd take action. I'd make the calls, but I don't know what to say. And here's what's really cool. You're going to get 20 plus years of experience of what we perfected on exactly what to say. And I'll tell you this, I'll never forget about 2 years ago, because what I'm known for in the industry is my scripts and conversations. I'll never forget somebody said, Steve, you're one of the best scripters. Carl says it all the time. And I used to think there were hundreds of scripts. We dialed it down to the 9 you need. But when you're activating your list, there's only 3 you need to take action today that produce immediate results in referral. We'll give it to you. Here's the next thing I hear all the time, or one of the things that's come up. What if I don't have time to do it? And what I would challenge you is this. All it takes is 1 to 2 hours a day. That's it. Like, you're talking about 8 to 10 hours a week to be able to predictably close what we see is about 8 loans a month. And so my challenge would be this: if you're out of time, then we'll help you say no to the things that maybe aren't moving the needle the most for you. Here's another one. I've tried coaching before. It didn't work. Hey, listen, we've all done it. Chances are it wasn't the right system, or no system at all. And one thing that you can always go to the bank on with me and Carl and the team, we're not here to pitch you on something. If it ain't working, we're not doing it. And we're going to be your friend, and we're going to be honest. We don't have there's no silver bullets. There's no look, do we use technology? Absolutely. In our farming, we'll show you how to do targeted ads and how to leverage more in less time. We're a big fan of high tech, high touch, low time, but that's not the first thing to implement. The first thing to implement is immediate contacts with warm relationships and asking for the business so that I get my 2 relational referrals. All right. So listen, keep dropping in. Book to call. Great job, Charlie. Man, I would absolutely love. Hey, and Jeannie, do this. Jump in a call, schedule it. We'll give it to you. We'll show you exactly how to ask for the business in a really cool way. Does the team provide scripts when you schedule in? 100%. We'll give them to you. You literally can screenshot what we'll show you. So 100% easy, easy, easy. Awesome. Chad, thank you for scheduling in, man. I got to tell you, it's a great thing. Hey, and listen, I'll tell you this. Wait, Vieira, absolutely. If you're a branch manager, you're looking to recruit. We've got a whole process through Leadership Academy, where we'll literally show you some of the things that Carl and there's a whole masterminding group on recruiting. And so that's inside of Leadership Academy. So absolutely book your call and we'll help you with it. Hey, and then let's see here. One last thing. How do I know if it's a right fit for me? And here's what I tell you: if you're closing loans, but you want more consistency, it's built for you. And that is something that I think is so powerful, because consistency is not about activity; it's about process. And one of the things that I've learned in my career is process is what removes the chaos. And it's not a lot of things. I love what Jim Collins said in his book, Good to Great. He said, it's not the biggest thing that makes the biggest impact in your business. It's always the smallest tweak. And I bet you are sitting on a small tweak that if you tweaked it would literally open the floodgates to your business. Hey, and here's the other deal. Are there really only a few spots? The answer is yes. We open up 25 spots, book a time. And we'll give you the plan. So let me open it up for any questions if you want to drop them in the chat. Kim, you are so precious. You've been a part of the boot camp, girl. You're crushing it. And I got to tell you, that has been a fun journey. Lamont, thank you, my man. Let's see here. Drop in the chat. You got some questions for me? Drop in the chat.
Yeah, Steve, there's a couple questions here. Like, when you say ask for business in a really cool way, what does that mean?
Yeah. So here's the thing that I always want to ask for the business in a way that makes it feel relational. And there's two things we got to know. Kristen, who's the audience? So like to a client, what I want to do is I want to build it into my conversation. See, here's the challenge. We'll meet with a client. We walk them through the process. They're in processing or they're pre-approved and looking. And it's like, hey, Kristen, all right, great job. And you never ask for the business. But with a client, we have a 3x3. It's, hey, that we're able to literally in a very cool way. Hey, Kristen, before I let you go, could I count on you for a quick favor? Hey, listen to this. Could I count on you that when you have a friend, family, coworker looking to buy, sell, or refinance, that give me their information? I'd love to help another great family just like you. And what happens is, and it's not just the script, it's learning how to have a pattern interrupt to be able to say, when you pause it, people are like, oh, that's weird. No, no, no. The reason we use every word is it creates a pattern interrupt. I used to say things like, keep me in mind. That converted less than being very specific, because when you're specific, there's psychology behind it. It's a pattern interrupt. And then it's like, well, yeah, or no, I don't. But listen, when I do, I'll let you know. And it's amazing how that works. Warms it up. Same thing on realtors. And there's three of them. But let me tell you about realtors. I used to say, hey, Kristen, keep me in mind for your next deal. It's okay. Or I wouldn't even ask. And then we learned, hey, Kristen, who do you have today that I could help you get pre-approved to make sure it's a good use of your time? And that one tweak in the conversation started bringing so many more referrals, because it's like, well, actually I have somebody because I ran into so-and-so this morning. And that's just two. And it's not just, look, I created a whole document we're giving you about the pattern interrupt, because what's so powerful is it's not just what to say, it's how to say it. And all right, any other question? Quick question, and I'll anything else on that, Kristen? Did y'all see?
No, I think that was really good. People are just asking, along those same lines of how do you ask for business in a cool way? And that's around scripting, and it depends on the audience, like you said. So, schedule a call.
Hey, listen, every call's got to have a desired result. And the challenge is we're making calls, we're doing activity, and we don't even know what the result's supposed to be. And and this is stuff we help you with in the boot camp too. It even goes back to, I'm doing all these leveraged events. Well, what's your call to action? We're so intoxicated with busy that we don't realize our lack of focus on desired result with the right audience and the right ask is what drives business, not busy work. So, hey, Oscar, I think I did that. I gave you one of the scripts, and really, we've got so much more. Hey, I got to tell you, everybody, thank you for your time. Grateful to be on the journey. I would just remind you this, take action. And there's so many levels you can become a member inside of the Marketing Animals. And we'll find one that fits for you, because our goal is to give you an on-ramp to stop the chaos, to give your family freedom that you deserve. Hey, and listen, my passion and Carl's passion. We want this industry to not be blinded by what, like, the problem is most people don't know. And we're here to tell you it is 13 conversations, 13 ask in a really cool way. It's 2 relational referrals. And then here's the other deal. I need to be in a community where I can jump into call stars and have accountability in making the calls. Because I'll tell you this, half of it is now that I know, how am I staying accountable? Am I part of the boot camp, or am I part of call stars, or am I part of these groups that help me show up in a really cool way so I stay focused? And that's available. And today you get to choose freedomplanningcall.com. Margot, I appreciate you. Always good to see you. I see all my sweet friends. Hey, listen, I'll tell you, you're 100% Rocky. The Call Stars is a game changer. Mark, thank you for booking your call next week. Great stuff. Tim, great to have you, my man. Donna, always good to see you. Tara, my sweet friend, been a part of the boot camp and just a part of our coaching for a long time. I'm just so grateful. I got to tell you, so honored to be on the journey. Vicky, you're crushing it. Keep doing everything you're doing. All right, everybody. Thank you for this, and we'll see you on next month's monthly mastermind. See you.